Ryan's reinforced boots smashed into the rocky ground with a satisfying crunch, kicking up clouds of sparkling blue dust on planet X-17. Gravity 10 times that of Earth pulled down on his body and exosuit as he stood tall, surveying the alien landscape stretched before him. Hovering insectoid vehicles zipped by overhead, their occupants gawking in slack-jawed amazement to see a being walking upright under his own power on their world. This was a planet of crushing gravity, an extreme environment unconquered by any sentient species, until now. Ryan's revolutionary exosuit, humanity's greatest technological marvel, made him the first and only entity to ever walk on the surface of X-17 in its known history. The native Vorta people scurried along the ground or rode in anti-grav transports, their fragile bodies unable to withstand the intense gravitational force without assistance. Whispers and cries of alarm erupted amongst the shocked Vorta as they witnessed the bipedal human striding boldly through their capital city. "Skywalker!" Some pointed and exclaimed in fear. Others fell to their knees in reverent awe, believing an ancient prophecy was unfolding before their compound eyes, a prophecy foretelling the arrival of a being who would walk upright as a god and forever change the fate of Vorta civilization. For better or worse, Ryan's presence on X-17 would have profound consequences for this alien world and perhaps the galaxy at large. His unique mobility was a threat to the oppressive power structure and an inspiration to the downtrodden lower castes. And underneath his feet lay a rare, immensely powerful energy source that could shift the balance of power between star systems. A prize Ryan would have to discover and protect at all costs. The future of the Vorta, the ownership of a cosmic game-changing resource, and humanity's place amongst the stars all hinged on the actions of a lone human explorer and the high-tech exosuit that made him the only one able to walk on this planet. Ryan knew the survival of his mission and potentially the human race itself depended on his success. He could not afford to fail. The young adventurer took a deep breath, steeled his nerves, and marched forward to embrace his destiny on this unforgiving alien world. As Ryan walked through the bustling Vorta streets, his mind raced with thoughts of his mission and the implications of his presence on this alien world. The weight of responsibility pressed down on him, almost as heavily as the intense gravity that threatened to crush his body with each step. A furtive tug on his exosuit sleeve pulled him from his introspection. Ryan turned to see a young Vorta male, his compound eyes wide with a mix of fear and excitement. "Skywalker," the Vorta whispered urgently. "I am Zalthor. You must come with me. We have much to discuss." Ryan hesitated for a moment, but the earnest desperation in Zalthor's voice compelled him to follow. The two weaved through narrow alleys and crowded hovels until they reached a hidden chamber deep within the city's underbelly. Inside, a group of Vorta huddled around a flickering holographic display, their hushed whispers ceasing as Ryan entered. Zalthor stepped forward, his voice trembling with emotion. "Skywalker, your arrival fulfills an ancient prophecy. You are the key to overthrowing Kraxon's oppressive regime and bringing hope to our people." Ryan frowned, his brow furrowing beneath his helmet. "I'm not here to get involved in your politics," he said firmly. "My mission is to secure a vital energy source for my own people." But as Zalthor and the other Vorta began to share their stories of suffering and oppression under Kraxon's rule, Ryan felt a stirring of empathy within him. He realized that his unique ability to walk on X-17's surface could be more than just a means to an end. It could be a catalyst for change. "All right," Ryan said, his voice filled with renewed purpose. "What do you need me to do?" Zalthor's face lit up with hope. "There is an ancient artifact, held within Kraxon's stronghold, that holds the key to unlocking the true meaning of the prophecy. We have a plan to infiltrate the stronghold, but we need your help to navigate the underground tunnels that lead to the artifact." Ryan nodded, his exosuit whirring as he clenched his fists in tenacity. "Let's do it." The infiltration was fraught with danger, but Ryan's exosuit allowed him to easily traverse the narrow tunnels that were inaccessible to the Vorta's hovering vehicles. With Zalthor's guidance, they successfully retrieved the artifact, a glowing orb that pulsed with an otherworldly energy. But their triumph was short-lived. As they emerged from the tunnels, alarms blared throughout the stronghold. Kraxen's forces, armed with advanced weaponry, descended upon the Resistance hideout. In the chaos of the escape, Ryan found himself separated from Zalthor and the others, alone in the planet's unforgiving wilderness. Trekking through the rugged terrain, Ryan's thoughts raced as he tried to formulate a plan. The weight of the artifact in his pack seemed to grow heavier with each step, a reminder of the burden he now carried. As he crested a rocky outcropping, he stumbled upon a hidden village, nestled in a valley untouched by Kraxen's influence. The village elder, a wizened Vorta named Zarkon, greeted Ryan with a knowing smile. "I have been waiting for you, Skywalker," he said, his voice thin with age but still full of strength. "The prophecy speaks of a great battle between you and the forces of darkness. The fate of our people rests on the outcome." Zarkon revealed that the energy source Ryan sought lay hidden within a sacred cave system, guarded by ancient Vorta warriors. The elder warned that reaching it would not be easy, but he believed that Ryan's arrival marked a turning point in their struggle against Kraxen. As Ryan sat in quiet contemplation, the weight of his choices bearing down upon him, he realized that his mission and the plight of the Vorta were inextricably linked. To secure the future of humanity, he would need to first help secure the future of the Vorta. With renewed commitment, Ryan set out to reunite with Zalthor and the Resistance. Armed with the knowledge of the prophecy and the location of the energy source, he knew that the coming battle would determine not just the fate of the Vorta, but perhaps the hope of the universe itself. The stage was set for a climactic confrontation, one that would test Ryan's willpower and the power of his exosuit to its very limits. Ryan huddled with Zalthor and the Resistance fighters in their hidden base, poring over crude maps of Kraxen's fortress. The air thrummed with tension as they formulated their plan. "We need a diversion," Ryan said, tapping the map. "I'll lead a small team through these tunnels here. My exosuit gives me an edge in mobility. Once we're in position, we'll create chaos, drawing attention away from the main gates." Zalthor nodded, his compound eyes gleaming. "Then the rest of us strike hard and fast at the entrance." As they prepared to move out, Ryan checked his suit's systems one last time. The familiar hum of servos and power cells reassured him. He led his strike team into the dank tunnels, the oppressive gravity of X-17 barely noticeable thanks to his technology. They crept through the darkness, the only sounds their breathing and the occasional drip of water. Suddenly voices echoed ahead. Ryan held up a hand, signaling his team to halt. A patrol of Vorta soldiers rounded the corner, their hover packs humming softly. "Intruders!" one shouted, raising his weapon. Chaos erupted in the confined space. Energy bolts sizzled past Ryan's head as he dove for cover. He returned fire, his human reflexes giving him an edge. But in the frantic melee, a stray shot struck his exosuit's leg joint. Warning lights flashed across his HUD. Ryan stumbled, his movements now clumsy and uncoordinated. A deafening crack split the air as part of the tunnel ceiling gave way. Ryan shoved two of his teammates clear but couldn't move fast enough himself. Rubble crashed down, pinning him in place. "Go!" he shouted to the others. "Complete the mission." But Zalthor's voice crackled over the comm. "Negative. We're coming for you, Skywalker." In his fortress, Kraxen received word of the skirmish. His spindly fingers clenched into fists. "They seek the artifact," he hissed. "Mobilize all forces. Scour every tunnel and crevice." Ryan and his team frantically searched for an escape route as the sounds of Kraxen's soldiers grew closer. They stumbled into a hidden chamber, its walls lined with strange ancient weaponry. In the center stood a massive energy cannon. "I'll hold them off," Ryan said, limping to the cannon. "You all get out of here." Zalthor hesitated, then nodded grimly. "We'll be back for you." As his allies retreated, Ryan manned the cannon. Its controls were alien, but he quickly grasped the basics. When Kraxen's forces poured into the chamber, Ryan opened fire. The cannon spat searing bolts of energy, cutting down wave after wave of soldiers. But the onslaught was relentless. Ryan's damaged suit slowed him, and a lucky shot from a Vorta weapon left him trapped behind the cannon, its systems failing. Kraxen's elite guard advanced, weapons trained on the cornered human. Ryan closed his eyes, preparing for the end. A blinding flash filled the chamber. Ryan opened his eyes to see Zarkon standing in the entrance, holding aloft a glowing artifact. Kraxen's soldiers lay unconscious on the ground. "Come, Skywalker," Zarkon said as Zalthor and the others rushed to Ryan's aid. "Your journey is not yet complete." Later, as Ryan's suit underwent repairs, Zarkon revealed the truth about the artifact Ryan had recovered earlier. "It contains a map to the sacred caves and the energy source within," the Elder Vorta explained. "But only one who has proven their worth can decipher it." Zarkon placed the artifact in Ryan's hands. It hummed with power, and strange symbols danced before his eyes. "The caves will not be easily reached," Zarkon warned. "Kraxen's forces guard them fiercely." Ryan looked at the faces of his Vorta allies, seeing hope and commitment in their alien features. He knew the final battle lay ahead, but for the first time since arriving on this crushing world, he felt the weight lifting from his shoulders. Together, they would find a way to victory. Ryan clutched the ancient map, its strange symbols pulsing with an otherworldly glow. Zarkon's words echoed in his mind as he led the resistance fighters into the treacherous Zarok Mountains. The jagged peaks loomed ahead, their harsh silhouettes cutting into the alien sky. "We need to move fast," Ryan said, his exosuit whirring with each step. "Kraxen's patrols are everywhere." As if on cue, the distant hum of hover vehicles filled the air. Ryan's mind raced. They couldn't risk a direct confrontation, not with the sacred caves so close. "I have an idea," he announced, turning to face the group. "We split up. I'll use my suit to lead them on a chase. The rest of you can slip past undetected." Zalthor's compound eyes widened. "That's suicide!" "It's our best shot," Ryan countered. "Trust me." With a reluctant nod from Zalthor, the plan was set in motion. Ryan activated his suit's enhanced mobility systems and took off across the treacherous terrain. The sound of pursuit grew louder as Kraxen's forces took the bait. Ryan's heart pounded as he bounded from rock to rock, his suit's servos straining against X-17's crushing gravity. Energy bolts sizzled past him, scorching the stone. He pushed his systems to the limit, drawing Kraxen's forces deeper into the mountains. The chase led him to a towering cliff. Ryan skidded to a halt, finding himself surrounded by Kraxen's elite guard. His suit's power levels plummeted into the red. "End of the line, Skywalker," one of the guards sneered. Ryan's mind raced. With no other options, he made a desperate gamble. He diverted all remaining power to his suit's weapons systems and fired wildly at the mountain above. The thunderous crack of splitting rock filled the air. An avalanche of boulders cascaded down, burying Kraxen's forces. Ryan leapt clear, but not before a massive chunk of stone slammed into his suit. He tumbled down the mountainside, his world fading to black. Meanwhile, Zalthor led the resistance to the entrance of the sacred caves. Their elation at reaching their goal was short-lived. A complex array of energy barriers and automated defense turrets guarded the entrance. "By the ancestors," Zalthor breathed, "how can we possibly—" One of the fighters spoke up. "There might be a way. These old systems often have maintenance tunnels. If we can find one, we might be able to reach the control center." Zalthor nodded grimly. "I'll go. The rest of you, be ready to move the moment those defenses go down." The Vorta resistance leader squeezed his lean body into a narrow tunnel, inching forward in complete darkness. The air grew thick and stale as he navigated a maze of ancient passages. Finally, he emerged into a dimly lit chamber filled with strange, pulsing machinery. Zalthor's fingers flew over the alien controls, his knowledge of ancient Vorta technology put to the ultimate test. With a final, decisive command, the cave defenses powered down. The resistance fighters rushed into the caves, their excitement palpable. But as they delved deeper, they encountered a massive energy barrier blocking their path. "It's the final defense," Zarkon explained, his wizened voice filled with awe. It can only be deactivated through a series of sacred rituals. As the group frantically pored over ancient texts, trying to decipher the rituals, a battered figure stumbled into their midst. It was Ryan, his exosuit sparking and dented, but still standing. "What did I miss?" he asked, managing a weak smile. Despite his injuries, Ryan volunteered to lead a small team deeper into the caves. They needed to locate the force field's source and attempt to disable it. Guided by Zarkon's map, Ryan's team navigated a gauntlet of deadly traps. Poison darts whistled through the air, ancient stone guardians lumbered to life, and treacherous chasms yawned beneath their feet. Finally, battered and exhausted, they reached the inner sanctum. A massive, pulsing device dominated the chamber, its energy tendrils stretching out to form the impenetrable barrier. Ryan approached the device, his heart sinking as he realized the truth. The ancient Vorta had designed it as the ultimate test of worthiness. Deactivating it would require. Ryan stood before the massive force field generator, its energy pulsing with an otherworldly rhythm. The air crackled with tension as the true nature of their task became clear. "A living sacrifice," Zarkon's voice echoed through the chamber. "The Skywalker must give his life force to power down the barrier." Ryan's team erupted in protest. Zalthor stepped forward, his compound eyes flashing. "There must be another way. We can't ask this of you, Ryan." But Ryan knew what he had to do. He removed his damaged exosuit, feeling the full weight of X-17's gravity press down on him. "This is why I'm here," he said, his voice steady. "My unique biology might be the key. We have to secure that energy source, no matter the consequences." Ryan stepped into the ritual chamber, a circular platform surrounded by ancient Vorta symbols. Zarkon began chanting in a language older than time itself. The air shimmered as Ryan felt an unseen force pull at his very essence. Pain lanced through every nerve in Ryan's body. He gritted his teeth, refusing to cry out as his life force drained away. The force field flickered, its impenetrable barrier weakening with each passing second. Just as the field collapsed, the cavern walls exploded inward. Kraxon and his elite guard poured into the sanctum, weapons blazing. Zalthor roared a battle cry, rallying the resistance fighters to meet the onslaught. Energy bolts sizzled through the air as the two forces clashed. The resistance fought with desperate fury, knowing that everything hinged on this moment. Ryan's team scrambled towards the now exposed energy source, dodging fire and debris. On the ritual platform, Ryan's strength was all but gone. With the last flicker of his consciousness, he reached out and touched the glowing energy source. A blinding wave of power erupted from the device, washing over friend and foe alike. Kraxon and his soldiers crumpled to the ground, overwhelmed by the energy surge. But the price was steep. Ryan's body went limp, his eyes staring sightlessly at the cavern ceiling. Silence fell over the battlefield. Zalthor rushed to Ryan's side, cradling the human's lifeless form. "No," he whispered, "not like this." The resistance fighters gathered around, their victory hollow in the face of such sacrifice. But then, a familiar voice cut through the gloom. "Stand aside," Zarkon commanded, holding aloft the artifact that had once incapacitated Kraxon's forces. The Elder Vorta placed the relic on Ryan's chest, its surface glowing with an inner light. A tendril of energy snaked from the newly activated power source, connecting with the artifact. Ryan's body jerked as a surge of power flowed into him. His eyes flew open, gasping as life returned to his battered form. Zarkon's voice was filled with awe. The prophecy spoke true. The Skywalker sacrifices but is reborn, a symbol of hope for our people. Ryan sat up, his knees going weak from the experience. He looked around at the joyous faces of his allies, then at the unconscious forms of Kraxon and his forces. We did it?" Zalthor helped Ryan to his feet. "We did. Thanks to you, my friend. The energy source is ours, and Kraxon's reign of terror is over." As they emerged from the sacred caves, blinking in the harsh light of X-17's alien sun, Ryan felt the weight of what they had accomplished. The resistance fighters cheered, but there was a solemn undercurrent to their celebration. In the days that followed, a new Vorta government was established. Ryan watched as his ideals of freedom and equality took root in this alien society. But the cost of victory haunted him. The faces of those lost in the struggle, both Vorta and human, visited him in his dreams. As the time for his departure approached, Ryan stood on a balcony overlooking the Vorta capital. Zalthor joined him, the two heroes sharing a moment of quiet reflection. "You've changed our world forever, Ryan," Zalthor said, "for better and for worse." Ryan nodded, understanding the dual nature of his impact. "The prophecy said I'd be both savior and destroyer. I guess they were right." As Ryan's ship prepared for launch, he said his goodbyes to the friends he'd made on this crushing world. Zarkon clasped his hand, his ancient eyes full of wisdom. "Your journey is just the beginning, Skywalker," the elder Vorta intoned. "The stars hold many more trials for you." Ryan boarded his ship, feeling the comfortable hum of its systems come to life around him. As the vessel broke free of X-17's oppressive gravity, he gazed out at the planet below, a world forever changed by his presence, for good and ill. The stars beckoned, countless worlds waiting to be explored. Ryan couldn't help but wonder what other ancient prophecies might be waiting for him out there in the vast expanse of space.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.